Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Popcross Studios of what if Disney characters were xenomorphs. Let's hop in and see who gets the face-hugged treatment.
When I saw the trailer for the new Lilo and Stitch
And that was a bit
live-action
of a
movie,
stretch.
the first thought that popped into my head was Stitch as a xenomorph, which admittedly somebody's probably recommended
That
in
would
my
be
comment
cute.
sections before. And I thought about doing a full episode of different Lilo and Stitch experiments as xenomorphs, but for some reason the
that could be
idea
good.
of Scar from The Lion King as a xenomorph really got stuck in my head. The idea of a lion xeno just seemed super cool.
Oh, and of course you gave it the score.
So I thought I'd broaden it out to just Disney creatures as xenomorphs. So let's get into that now, shall we? Let's go.
Hit like if you want.
Subscribe
if you feel like it.
But
By
either
the
way,
way, enjoy the show.
Bustar Terminax security log.
Bustar Terminax. Look at that guy. It is so cool just to now have a face to the name. And I remember when he was actually drawn.
Entry 1. The old me wouldn't have stooped doing guard duty for nobody, but the Ishkonians asked me to do some rounds of the xenomorph
Ishkonians,
sections
huh?
of the nature preserve planet, Ishkonigan Major. I've brought a lot of unique critters to this planet, especially xenos, and I'll be flarged if I let any poachers come here and steal them.
I do not mean to tell you how to structure your logs, Bustar, but you may wish to provide some context for what prompted you to be given this task.
Right.
That would be useful.
Right. Thanks,
Context.
Jeff. Should have started with that. See, Ishkonigan Major has gotten lots of threats, and the Ishkonians have heard lots of rumors about break-ins being planned. Specifically from poachers looking to take some of the rare creatures we got here to sell or kill and skin them for trophies or whatever those sick freaks think is worth doing with the beautiful beasties we got here.
Literally everything you said. And
The place has pretty good
except eat them. You did not mention that. And I actually do not know if xeno meat even exists or if it would even be edible considering the whole sulfuric acid blood.
defenses on account of needing to keep some really dangerous critters in their nature preserve sectors, but there was finally an event that showed us this place wasn't totally up to snuff on keeping invaders out. One of my buddies, Quadrich, who I've gone on a few missions with for the Ishkonians, was made by this mad scientist.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that guy. Yeah, a combination of Xeno, Stitch, and Forearms.
Who's created hundreds of other dangerous critter
think.
experiments. Together, Quadrich and I went and invaded this guy's lab and snagged a bunch of his critters out of the cruelly small cages he was keeping them in. He may have been the one to make them, but that doesn't mean he has the right to treat them like garbage. Figured they'd be a lot happier here with plenty of room to run around. Plus, this scientist was scheming to use them to do all kinds of horrible stuff. We wrangled up a bunch of them to bring back to Ishkonigan Major, but the scientist himself got away. Guess there was one experiment in particular he was real proud of and wanted back, so a few weeks later he broke into Ishkonigan Major's xenomorph sector and tried to steal back his experiment number 626. Thankfully the crew fought back, since I guess you could say it's sort of made a friend here, but it was a way closer call than the Ishkonians were comfortable with. They're really up in security around here now. 626 was actually made after the scientist had made Quadrich, and he used some similar traits in composition that he'd used on Quadrich for this thing. But this time he also used predominantly xenomorph DNA for the critter. It's pretty small as far as xenos go, only about 4 feet tall, but it packs a punch. It has 4 arms
Oh, so it's about maybe the size of a runomorph.
naturally, but can transform its body to an extent by shrinking 2 of its arms back inside itself, and even spawn a set of big eyes, and hide its teeth to make itself look more adorable by, other people's standards.
Wait, it can
Frankly,
give itself
I think
eyes?
it looks cuter in its normal resting form, but apparently I got sort of weird taste.
I am impressed that you have finally accepted that as the
I mean, Buster, you literally dated a yachtja. I mean, come on. What was that like, by the way?
truth, Bustar. There is nothing wrong with your tastes, but having the self-awareness to know that they are quite uncommon and not widely relatable is likely to be beneficial to you in interpersonal interactions.
Come to Earth and just talk to anyone. You'll find out that eventually there's a group of people that will agree with your taste.
Yeah, good for me. I know I got freaky taste now. Anyway, this thing is similar to Quadrich in that it can lift 3,000 times its own body weight. It's also got the same vicious hunting instincts as other Xenos, but there is a weird thing we can do to calm it down. See, a lot of Xenos can be kept in the same nature preserve sector because they don't do a lot of infighting. Xenos ain't big on hunting other Xenos, but 626 was clearly looking for a scrap. It only started chilling out when one of the containment specialists they got on site here, named Lee Leor, was riding through the Xeno Preserve in one of the secure vehicles and was blasting Elvian Preslar, the king of rock and roll.
Elvian Preslaw. Oh, come on. I get that you can't say Lilo and all, but you could say Elvis Presley. Come on. Oh, maybe this is taking place in the Men in Black universe and he is an alien. That's how you actually meant to say his name.
From out in the Creopala
Oh,
sector.
love it.
I don't know if the scientist played this music while making the critter or what, but for whatever reason, this thing seems to be a big fan of the king. They put Lee in charge of keeping an eye on 626, and apparently it's really taken a liking to her. It's smarter than other Xenos, and it's got more capacity for empathy, too. Or at least it seems like it does. The thing was made by a mad scientist, so here's hoping it really is learning to be more chill, and it ain't just a devil in disguise.
Shouldn't be, hopefully.
Now for this one I decided to try out 2 different color schemes. One of just Stitch, like the classic blue sort of look for him, and the other with his, I don't know if you call it a prison jumpsuit, like his red suit that he has at the beginning of the animated movie, and we see it briefly in the trailer for the live-action movie as well.
I wouldn't call it a prison jumpsuit, considering that was kind of gifted. In the original, it was gifted to him by Jumbo? Is that his name? It's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't completely remember. Well, but I would just call it his, I guess just outfit.
And I think in my head, canonically, I'm gonna say that the blue version is the canon version of what this alien looks like. But I might actually like the red version more. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't exactly make it look like it's a suit that he's wearing, so I can't exactly say that's what it is.
You can make him change
I
color.
guess I can say whatever I want, but it just doesn't really feel right. But either way, I'm glad I did the 2 different color schemes. That is a fun thing to do, and I feel like, I've probably said it the last time I did this, but I feel like I should do that more often. Also, I did really want to write in an excuse to have Bustar sing a few lines of Elvis Presley, but I was like, no, that doesn't make sense for Bustar. This isn't me playing Tayran singing sea shanties in the Summoner's Beasts.
True.
For Tayran, that kind of
That's
made
true.
sense, but Bustar may be a bit of a weird guy, but just because I love musicals, that doesn't mean all of my characters should just inherently love singing in musicals.
Yeah, if anything, Bustar would probably not be like a big fan of musicals themselves, but he would at least enjoy like the music of it, and he'd probably be caught like humming or whistling a tune here and there, but he would never be straight out outright singing anything.
Anyway, I'm quite pleased with both versions of this, and I'm curious what you all think color scheme-wise. Which one do you like more? Let me know in the comments.
I'll be honest, I do like the blue because that's just what we know Stitch as. And the red one does look good, and an easy explanation would literally just be to say that he can change his color to look like this. And Jumbo did it to save on material? I don't know.
626 ain't the only Xeno that's had problems with others in the xenomorph preservation sector. There's this one xenomorph that they just call Scar, on account of a scar running down its head, that was incubated inside the body of an alien species called a lion. It actually managed to kill the only xenomorph king living on the preservation, which was obviously a snargin' bummer because those things are real hard to find.
Yeah, damn
Most
right.
hives of Xenos will have a queen that gives birth to all the ovomorphs with facehuggers in them that then shove a Xeno embryo inside someone or something so the queen can get born proper. But some of the biggest hives will also have a king, who's essentially like the heaviest artillery the hive can have.
I will go ahead and tell y'all, don't bother actually trying to look for on Google, do not bother looking for a Xeno king, because you'll never actually be able to find like an actual proper one given form. I mean, I've tried it for years, and the best I could do is just find a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Tyrannosaurus Rex, I just came up with that, and that sounds damn cool.
Another tracker working for the Ishkonians was commissioned to go grab one that was the last survivor of its hive, after the now defunct Intergalactic Safety Commission sent an army to wipe the hive out. This thing was too tough to kill even for their whole army, and with no hive left, it was just furiously running around trying to kill anything it could find. It finally got caught and brought here and became the de facto leader for a small hive of Xenos we already had in the preservation. But this scarred Xeno seemed like it got sorta jealous of this newcomer popping up and become the frontman to the other Xenos. He scrapped with the king once or twice and lost, then started bowing down to the king himself. Or at least seemed like he was. Guess the king let his guard down enough that Scar was eventually able to get the drop on him and actually kill him. Unfortunately for Scar, the other Xenos figured out what he did and didn't take too kindly to having their leader killed. They tried to take out this scarred Xeno, and they probably would've if the on-site specialists hadn't stepped in and carted it off to another part of the preservation. Now it's sort of a loner, but it's still technically in the same sector, so wouldn't be surprised if it eventually makes its way back to the others for round 2. If it does, the Ishkonians might just let nature take its course.
Oh yeah,
It is
definitely.
intriguing to know that there are elements of animal drama occurring within the confines of Ishkonigan Major. I suppose it is a testament to the fact that the Ishkonians are allowing these creatures to live out fairly natural patterns and behaviors, albeit while stepping in occasionally to further preserve life. Are you familiar with how this xenomorph ended up with the scar after which it is named? You suggested that it had said scar before the king arrived, correct?
Yeah, but I don't really know the story. One of the containment specialists started telling me the tale, but it was really long and I kind of got bored. Then he started singing for some reason and I just totally checked out and found an excuse to get out of there. I'm sure it was a fascinating story to someone, but I just didn't care enough to listen all the way through.
That was why did the guy start singing would be my question.
Basically just me saying I haven't watched Mufasa. Now, before I forget, I wanted to say that the idea that kind of initiated at least the start of this episode about poachers breaking into Ishkonigan Major to steal creatures or kill creatures or whatever, that was suggested by a subscriber who I'm forgetting who it was. I apologize to that person. I know I saved the comment somewhere, but I can't find where I saved it. And I actually do really like that idea and am not 100% confirmed on, but pretty convinced that I'm going to make like a mini series around that concept, like maybe a 5 to 7 episode series.
I can see that.
I'll probably turn that into a shorter book as well, where poachers break into Ishkonigan Major and Bustar has to kind of, defeat them, push them out, kill them, whatever. And I also think it would be fun to bring back Aviva Orvad for it, the character from that
I remember her.
Terminax horror story kind of episode where Bustar was the quote-unquote horror villain for it. Don't know when that will come because I have a few series planned. I know that I'm going to be making a Vigilance spin-off called The Book of Bayou Nights, and I want to get running on that sometime in the near future after some of my currently running stories are finished. Also got to get back to the realm of hopeful horrors. I'm still trying to figure out how to balance all the different storylines that I want to tell at once. Because even having...
Hey, just remember, take your time, pace yourself. No one is going to rush you. We, your loyal fans, will wait for as long as we have to. We love your work, we love you, and we do not want to see you burn out.
3 going right now feels like a little bit much. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, also for this one, this design is my absolute favorite of the episode. I'm so glad that I didn't just go with Lilo and Stitch characters, because I think this guy looks absolutely sick as a Xenomorph.
Oh, Xenomorph Pleakley! What would that have looked like? Xenomorph Pleakley. Instead of having the one tongue mouth, does he have 2 or 3? How many tongues did Pleakley have? I don't remember.
But then also, after I recorded that part talking about the design notes for Stitch, and then I was like, maybe I should try some alternate color schemes for these characters. Because I do my flat colors on a separate layer, it's usually pretty easy for me to sub in a different color scheme. So at the end of this, you don't see me doing it on here, because it literally took like 2 minutes to do. But in the final showing off of the image for this one, I show an alternate color scheme that doesn't make sense canonically. This version that we're seeing here is the canonical color scheme for this creature. But I actually think the alternate color scheme might be cooler, and is a little bit more in line with regular Xenomorphs, like it's much darker. And then I ended up going in and doing the same thing with the Mushu one, which is the next character I'm drawing, an alternate color scheme for that one.
Wait, Mushu, the dragon from Mulan, voiced by Eddie Murphy, I believe. Okay, you better make that one a joke character, just like the movie representation one, because that is gonna be hilarious.
And man, I really think this is a thing I should just do more often, because in a lot of cases, not every time, but a lot of cases, it is pretty easy to sub in some new colors, and just seeing that variant, like, for how easy it is to do, it's so cool to see such a, I don't know, maybe not dramatically different version, but it kind of feels dramatic in some of the cases. I mean, I don't know, I guess you can decide for yourself. Let's take a look at both versions of this creature's color scheme now.
Alright, well, let's take a look. So we got Cannon Skull, Oh, looks pretty good. Looks like it's moving counterpart. And oh, a black and white lion variant. Dude, now that is just awesome. I know it's not canon, but come on, black and white
Another
are
place
awesome.
where the Ishkonians are stepping up their game is in making sure some of the smaller critters we got around here can't slip through the cracks in security. We want the creatures here to be happy and live as naturally as they can, but a xenomorph, even a small one, busting into a different preservation sector could spell real bad news. One managed to break out of its sector the other day simply on account of it being a tiny, slippery little critter. One of the on-site staff, Dala, spotted it on the cameras before it hurt any other critters, but got too close for comfort. It's this weedy little lizard-like Xeno that some folks on site insist on calling a dragon Xeno, but I don't know, I guess I'm still a bit bitter since when I tracked this thing down, the locals had me convinced I was going to be wrangling something a lot bigger and more interesting. Made me feel like a real donkey when I saw what I was actually after. They said...
Oh, I get the reference. I got the reference. He said he felt like a donkey. So yeah, that confirms. So this was, of course, played by Eddie Murphy, who played Donkey in Shrek.
There was a great stone draconic xenomorph wreaking havoc, and they made it sound like it was going to be a nice fat challenge to take down.
Yeah, the stone
Then
dragon.
I look around for a while, and the only xenomorph I find is this 2-foot-tall little red gecko thing. It could spit some flame, but barely enough to light a small fire, not the lethal flamethrower I'd expect from a dragon. Made me wish I'd been hunting something from that nutty professor that made Quadrich in 626.
Is it possible, Bustar, that you are displeased with the encounter with this creature because it actually managed to injure you despite its unimpressive stature?
Wait, what?
Yeah, I guess, whatever. I did underestimate the thing a bit. Its fire must have had a bit of xeno acid elements in it, because it scorched my arm and melted right through some of my flesh and tech. Got some help on planet, but with the limited resources of the village I was running around near, the doctor could do little to actually help. Ended up with a bit of a scar on my arm since I didn't get it treated until about 48 hours later.
Damn.
You could look at that as unfortunate, but I would say the scar now only adds to your overall aesthetic. Given you are attracted to dangerous and unconventionally frightening women, who may also find similar traits attractive, this scar may indeed even help you someday attract your dream girl.
That is true.
It's a weird way to put it for you, but
that is
yeah,
true.
I guess. Does look pretty cool, and nowadays I wouldn't be looking to go trading places with anyone else. I'm pretty happy with the look I got going. Apparently I should be pretty flattered that were-jaguar chick Vasilia is so invested in making me into her. Though I think she's finally gotten the message that I'm never gonna be into her.
Which is an extreme downside, because it was absolutely hammered the last time we saw.
She did look a lot better as a were-jaguar, though. Not that I'll ever be telling her that. Anyway, guess I should check on Dala as I'm wrapping up here and see if the cracks in containment have been made for keeping smaller critters locked in.
Are you concerned at all about this specialist's abilities?
Not really. Dola might have a hard time patching up some of the holes, but I'm sure I'll get them all with enough time. Alright, I know it's not the point of the episode, but this alternate color scheme thing is sick. Again, in this one, you don't actually see me doing the alternate color scheme.
Now I'm actually going to be curious what kind of alternate colors you went for this shiny.
In the actual drawing process, because it's literally just something I threw together, and like, even 2 minutes is a stretch for this. Like, it probably only took me 1 minute to sub in new colors. So for this one, I again do a version that's a bit more like a classic xenomorph as well, like mostly black. And I think both versions end up looking really cool. And it's almost making me want to make an episode where I just take, like, even 20 of my drawings that I really like and just sub in some different color schemes for them just to see what they'd look like with the alternate color schemes. I guess a reason not to do it more often, or that I wouldn't have before, is that it just, like, canonically doesn't really make sense with whatever lore or story I'm presenting. Like in this case, the Mushu dragon that we'll say is, you know, canonically set in this series on Ishkonigan Major in Bustar Terminax's storyline is the red one that you're seeing me draw here.
That makes sense.
Maybe it even we'll stick with that. But I think the idea of me just doing more alternate color schemes for things in the future, just for fun and just to have an alternate version, is a really cool idea. And let me know what you think about that idea of me doing an episode where I just do some alternate color schemes for existing drawings I've already done, and what drawings you want to see that in. The episode where I did this to the most logical effect, I think, was an episode back when the Spider-Man 2 video game came out. I did an episode venomizing Spider-Man villains, and in the story...
Yeah, you had a venomized Mr. Negative, but when he was venomized, it turned his venom into anti-venom, which he was then able to use those against all the other venomized villains, freeing them as well.
Some of them ended up getting turned into anti-venom symbiote designs as well, so it made sense to have two different color schemes for them. But really, I think saying that I need a reason to do it beyond it looks cool is just kind of hindering me from doing more cool alternate variant color schemes.
Do it because
in terms
you
of
want
the
to.
actual design for this one, I guess I've talked about this instead because I don't have that much to say. I really like how this one turns out. I made its head bigger because I wanted it to feel like a smaller creature, so the head bigger in proportion to the rest of its body would make it feel a bit smaller. Probably could have had us looking down on it a little bit more if I wanted it to look even smaller still, because Mushu isn't like a big creature. He's what, maybe like 1 or 2 feet tall.
Oh,
but yeah,
yeah,
I guess also in the
yes.
grand scheme of this episode, this guy, his canonical design being so red makes me like the blue version of Stitch that much more, because the red version of Stitch has a lot of visual similarities to this one. But yeah, beyond that, I'm super excited to show you how both the final canonical version of this turned out and the altered black version, so let's take a look at those now.
You could just straight up call it a shiny form. Oh, and look at the horns. Damn, that's actually really awesome.
That's all for today's Xenomorphs, but I just wanted to show off that I have my proof copy of Mytholethal now. There are a few changes that I still need to make before it's finalized, but it is set to come out 1 week from today. It's packed full of art. I absolutely love how it looks. There's a bonus gallery of other Popcross art at the end, including my art from the Terminax episode involving Bustar Terminax. There's no bonus art in here that wasn't released in the original Mytholethal, and I am, just super excited for this to finally come out a week from today. It'll be up on Amazon, but I'm going to be plastering the link everywhere. But besides that, that's all for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of positive or inspiring note. And the thought I want to leave people with today is a quote I read this week from someone named Ben Ockery, who said, "Beware of the stories that you read and tell. Subtly at night beneath the waters of consciousness, they are altering your world." Essentially, it's a good reminder that the stuff that you read and take in on a daily basis and the stories you tell about yourself and your life are continuously wiring how you perceive the world around you. So if you consistently say things like, life is horrible, my life is awful, that kind of stuff, that's just affirming that that is the case, and you're going to be more likely to see your life that way. Whereas if you affirm and focus on more positive things, your brain is going to be wired to see those things more often, and your life will improve. I hope that's an inspiring thought. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next episode on Friday. Goodbye.
Alright everyone, well that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Until then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.